Now, I'm not often right, but I called this one. Last year, when IWC extended their Ingenieur range, the Ingenieur 40, and I mentioned that because they've got the number 40 within the name, in line with IWC's naming convention, that must mean that there has to be a reason to distinguish this version of the Ingenieur to other versions. That's exactly what they've done. IWC have launched a whole host of new Ingenieurs, and they're not just dial changes. These are completely new watches. I've got hands on with all of them, so let's go through it. First up, we have this super stealthy Ingenieur 42. This is in zirconium oxide ceramic. The whole thing is blacked out, black case, black bracelet, black dial, black hands, even the movement. And the case back is sapphire crystal, tinted black. Now there's a challenge around building this case design out of ceramic because there's multiple parts. So you've got the bezel, you've got the mid case, and then you've got the case back itself. To get around that challenge, IWC have used a titanium ring on the inside of the watch for the bezel to be screwed into and then the back case to be screwed into as well. The sapphire on the top is pressed into the bezel and the sapphire on the back is pressed into the case back. And then the whole thing is just screwed together. So these screws aren't just decorative, they are actual screws. The case, as I mentioned, is zirconium oxide ceramic. It is 42 millimeters wide, 11.6 millimeters thick, and it has a water resistance of 100 meters. The sapphire crystal on the top is convex and has anti-reflective coating on the underside and on the top side. And as I mentioned, the sapphire crystal on the back is tinted black. The movement inside this one is different from the normal Ingenieur. This is the caliber 82110. The difference being is that although this is automatic, the winding system is slightly different. This has the peloton winding system. It's essentially bi-directional winding, so it's always winding up the spring. The movement has 22 joules, beats at 28,800 vibrations per hour, and has a 60-hour power reserve. Now the price of this is a touch more. No, a good chunk more than the steel version, but this is larger, has a slightly different movement, and obviously is in ceramic. This is going to cost £16,800. Next up, we have the most complex Ingenieur that IWC have done. This is with their Perpetual calendar movement. This movement was originally designed by IWC's watchmaker Kurt Klaus back in the 80s. And what's special about this Perpetual calendar movement is that everything is controlled by the crown. Typically, you'd have pushers around the case to interact with all the different functions. So you've got the date, you've got the day, you've got the month, you've got the leap year, and then you've got the moon phase, and all of that is controlled by the crown, along with the time, of course. The crown is also screw down, so you have all of this complication, all of this fancy watchmaking going on, but it's still in a usably sporty case. The case is stainless steel and it's 41.6 millimeters wide, 13.4 millimeters thick, so slightly thicker than a normal Ingenieur. We have the same sapphire crystal on the front and back, again with the same anti-reflective, and it still has the 100 meters water resistance because the crown, as I said, is a screw down crown. The movement inside is IWC's caliber 82600, again with the peloton winding system, again beating at 28,800 vibrations an hour. This one has 46 joules because of all the added extra complications, and it still has 60 hours of power reserve. And the price is £32,000. Now to change it up a bit, this is a significantly smaller Ingenieur. This is the Ingenieur 35, massively downsized, but interestingly in gold it has a huge amount of wrist presence, and this is it on my 6.5-inch wrist. This comes in stainless steel or in IWC's 5N gold. The case is 35 millimeters wide, it's 9.4 millimeters thick, again sapphire crystal top and back, again 100 meters of water resistance thanks to the screw down crown. But the movement inside this is slightly different. This is the caliber 47100. It is automatic, beats at 28,800 vibrations per hour, has 23 joules and 42 hours of power reserve. The price is obviously going to be a massive price difference in this. In steel it's 8,900 and in gold it's 32,700. So I've kept my favorite one for last. This is the Ingenieur 40 in IWC's 5N gold. This is a mix of gold, it's 75% pure gold, and the rest is made up of an alloy of silver and copper. This is to improve the strength of gold, because if it was true 24 karat gold, pure gold, it would just be too soft to use as a watch. And so to make it stronger, they mix it with other metals, resulting in it being 18 karat gold. Now, typically when watch brands make watches in gold, it is simply just the metal that's changed. But IWC have done this differently. The movement itself has been finished to a much higher standard. The movement inside this is the same movement as with the normal Ingenieur, the caliber 32111. Beats at 28,800 vibrations per hour, has 21 joules and has 120 hours of power reserve, 5 days of power reserve, but it is finished to a higher standard. They've given the movement circular Geneva stripes, they've blued the screws, and then they have a gold-plated rotor. And we have that on display as well. I've always said that I want the Ingenieur to have a display case back. An integrated bracelet watch feels quite luxurious, and so being able to see the movement, that also feels like a little further touch of luxury. That being said, it is kind of cool that IWC have kept the display case back for this level of watch, because there is even more to show off. The case is 40mm wide, like the normal Ingenieur 40. The case is actually thinner on this watch because it has a display case back. On the normal Ingenieur, if you had a display case back, you'd just see this plate of iron. That's been taken out of this version, and so that allows the whole case to just be thinner. This has sapphire crystal on the top and the bottom, and again anti-reflective on the top and the bottom, and it also has the screw down crown, which still gives this more luxurious version 100 meters of water resistance. The price is £40,200, which is a lot of cash. That's a lot of cash. I feel like this is what the Ingenieur should be. It feels like the most fitting format for the watch. I really enjoy the fact that it's brushed all over, but all the edges are highly polished. In the gold, this just pops that little bit more, and it also feels more fitting for it to be in gold. It would be interesting to do a side-by-side comparison with this and a gold Nautilus or a gold Royal Oak. I think that'd be quite fun to do. Guys, let me know which one is your favorite of these new releases, and if you want me to do like a full-length, more detailed video on any of them, let me know in the comments down below. I really want to know your thoughts on actually kind of all of them, because they're all different, and that's kind of the fun thing around this launch, is that it isn't just a dial change, it's more than that. We've got complications, we've got larger sizes, we've got the ceramics, and then we've got the 40 in gold, and then we've got the 35mm as well. It's fun that it's not just a dial change. Guys, let me know your thoughts in comments down below. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up button. If you like the stylus video, then hit the subscribe button down there and that little bell icon, especially now because there's going to be so many new watches coming out, and lots of videos as well. If you want to check out watch straps and watch accessories, jump over to barkandjack.com, and Instagram, give me a follow at barkandjack. I'll see you very soon. Take care.